What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to break down exactly what you need to do to build your diet from scratch. And I don't mean setting you up in terms of macros. You can go and watch previous videos when it comes down to that. I mean actually setting up your diet structure for success, because it's all well and good having the calories, having the macros, you can go and find those numbers, but it's actually about trying to figure out a structure that will work for you, that you can follow, that's repeatable, that's simple, something that allows you to get amazing results. And this, in my opinion, this is just a framework that we use with a lot of our clients at FitLab. I am very confident will work for most people, okay? I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm not saying this works for everyone. Everyone has got their own things that they like to do, they like to try. But when it comes to most of the busy guys that we've worked with, this simple structure, this is what I also follow myself, that I know gets very good results. So let's just assume to start off with that you have already calculated your macros. And again, I will link a video in the description. I've got my free calculator below. You can go and use that. You can get your macros. You can go to a previous video. You can work out roughly how many calories you should be consuming, and you can work out how much protein, carbs, and fat you should be consuming. So get those numbers. Let's just say you're roughly working at around 2,000 calories per day, which is pretty standard for most guys, 200 grams of protein, around 60 grams per fat, and then around, say, like 200 grams of carbs. Kind of rough macros, quite generic macros that work for a lot of guys. Once you've got that, you then need to put that into a repeatable system, a structure, a daily kind of routine that will work for you when it comes to getting amazing results. So first of all, before I get into this, before I go through what I believe works, let me tell you what I believe doesn't really work, and the kind of trap that a lot of guys fall into. First of all, it's going to be this, which I just don't think realistically for most people really works. So we've got 1 to 2 meals per day. Okay, this is quite popular and it's becoming more popular, and even more so we've got 0 meals per day, because people at the moment seem to be doing a lot of this fasting, 36-hour fast. They're like the new trend, right? Because of the trophy and all this incredible stuff that happens when we fast. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I'm also saying let's be realistic and let's think about what the goal is. The reason why I just don't think this works is because most people are foodies, most people enjoy food. Most people don't want to just be eating once per day. I don't want to eat once per day, right? We look forward to eating food. We should enjoy eating food and eat certain foods that obviously fuel our bodies really well. I don't think most people really know how to fast. And also it just leads to a huge binge restrict cycle when we do this as well. The whole OMAD, which is basically 1 meal per day, okay? This 1 meal, right? This is what a lot of people are trying to do now, literally just having one massive meal and consuming all their calories in 1 meal. Now, again, I am not saying this will not work for you. I'm not speaking for every single person here. You might have tried this, you might get a lot of success with this. And if you do, fantastic. I'm speaking to the majority of guys out there that are pretty stuck right now and need a structure, I need a system that they know works and that is repeatable, that works, and also is not going to cause massive amounts of restriction. I do not believe that 1 meal per day is really the secret towards that. And again, 1 to 2 meals per day, it's like the whole intermittent fasting thing, which may work again for some of you, but I just don't think for a lot of people that have a social life, that have families, that have work events and all this kind of thing, it just isn't really something that I believe works for that many people. And it just means that you're a lot of the time probably feeling a little bit hungry. And then when you do eat, you kind of end up binging and everything just falls out the window. Look, I tried this, guys, and I've tried and tested these things. I did OMAD for a little bit. I tried it for like a few days coming into a shoot, and it kind of worked a little bit. And then I ended up eating such a massive meal in the evening that I just could not sleep because I had so much food digesting, and it just did not work for me. So I don't think these whole like fasting strategies or OMAD 1 meal a day, I just don't think for most people this works. And again, if it works for you, then kudos. But I just speaking to most of my guys out there that are a little bit stuck at the moment. The second approach, okay, is this whole, you know, bodybuilder, I must be eating small meals, but very regularly, 6 meals per day. Again, if you are a busy guy, got a family, you've got a job, you've got a lot of things going on. I mean, like, do you really feel like you can commit to eating 6 meals per day, preparing 6 meals per day, the whole little and often? Yes, it might work for you and you can consume, you know, more meals throughout the day, but it's also just more time consuming, it's more prep, and it's actually absolutely unnecessary as well. It doesn't make a difference to your results if you're consuming, especially within fat loss. We're looking to build optimal muscle mass. There's an argument that eating protein more regularly can help, but even with my approach, you're still gonna be doing that. 6 meals per day is just complicated, it requires loads of prep, and it's just not realistic for most guys that have got a super busy lifestyle. So again, I just would not recommend this. Honestly, you can try it, and again, if it works for you, if you like having, you know, a nice spread of meals across the day and it works for you, kudos. But again, speaking to the guys that maybe feel a bit stuck right now. I've done this whole 6 meal a day approach as well when I was kind of in my sort of bodybuildery part of my life, like we all go through. And back then when I was in my, early 20s, yeah, maybe it worked. But now for me, it's all about efficiency. It's about not spending loads of time in the kitchen. It's about not spending loads of time eating because I'm busy and I've got things that I want to do. So again, I don't want to be eating 6 meals per day, sitting down, eat all the time. You're just eating all day, not realistic. So what is it that I think works? They're the approaches that I just don't really think for most people are actually that effective. This is what I really believe is like the kind of key that works. And I will run you guys through what this looks like. And I will go into the specifics of this as well, okay? So once you've got your calories, once you've worked out your macros, once you've done all that, I believe this is the kind of most effective approach. 3 meals per day and 1 snack, right? So you're eating 3 times, like just like a normal person, right? Why are we having to go away from what we've always done? 3 meals per day is completely normal, okay? I'm not saying that you have to eat breakfast because that's another thing I'm gonna run you guys through, but we've always had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so why are we trying to deviate away to all these complicated methods? 3 meals per day works for most people, so let's keep it like that. And that's what I believe works, all right? And then when I say 1 snack, again, I will give you some specifics on that, but the snack is kind of there for a reason, and it's tactical, and it's also not a low-calorie snack. It's a very effective, high-protein meal that goes in at a time as to when most people mess their diet up. So we're putting it in at a tactical time of being strategic with the way that we set the diet up so that we can get, again, longer term success. And again, guys, this is just a repeatable system, right? It's 3 meals, it's not that much, it's about right. It doesn't give you the time to get hungry. You can make it fit around your social life. And again, sometimes this might change, right? I'm not saying this is every single day you're gonna follow this, but realistically, that is a very repeatable and simple system that works for most guys. Right, let me go into the specifics of how we go about this exact system, and we'll break it down meal by meal so you know exactly what it is that you're looking at. We're gonna start with meal 1, okay? So meal 1, let me run you guys through that as well. Like, meal 1 is gonna be a repeatable meal, okay? That is gonna be pretty much the same meal that you're gonna have every single day. And you might have 1 rotation or possibly a weekend meal, a weekend breakfast, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be a breakfast. But look, we don't want to be making those decisions. We especially don't want to be using all our decision fatigue power in the morning, right? When realistically you want to have things on repeat that that you've already, planned from the night before, where you just know it's on autopilot. This is how it should be. You should not be thinking to yourself, what am I gonna have for breakfast today? This, and this. You should just have a simple meal that's how you have first thing in the morning that is just easy. It's on autopilot. Of course you enjoy it. All of these meals that you should actually enjoy. I'm not saying for a second you shouldn't, but it should be simple, should be repeatable, and it should be something that you just know in your head. You don't even think about it when you wake up. You're like, gonna have my eggs this morning, gonna have my porridge this morning, because it might already be prepared, guys, because you've literally just, And this is exactly what I do. Every single meal 1 is the same for me. I mean, look, I have my meals prepped for me at the moment. I'm in Bali, and that's like even more effective, but it's still a pretty much repeatable meal. I still pretty much choose the same thing most mornings for my meal prep. It's generally eggs based, high fat, high protein, and then I like to get some carbs in there as well from fruit. Okay, that's how I like to have my first meal. Generally, I find that having a higher protein, higher fat meal in the morning is very good for your brain function. Okay, obviously you can have a high amount of carbs. I love oats as well, but I just find that sometimes when I eat oats, it gives me a little bit of brain fatigue because of the high amount of carbohydrates. That's just me personally. Some people probably wouldn't feel like that. I think if you train first thing quite aggressively, do your weights, you're probably going to want to eat an oats-based or a carb-based meal 1 because it's going to replenish a lot of glycogen. So it depends, but ideally, each of these meals is high protein, 30-40 grams per meal, and it's quality food. But when it comes to that first meal, this is about looking at your schedule as to when it is going to work for you. You don't have to eat breakfast super early. I personally fast usually till about 11, 12 o'clock, so I don't eat my first meal till then. If I'm super hungry, I'll eat a little bit earlier. I don't have a little rule book of when I can eat. And if I go for a run in the morning, I tend to be a lot hungrier, so I will eat my first meal after I've been for my run, I've had a shower, and then I'll go and eat my meal after that. So it kind of depends, but meal 1 is just about making life easy for yourself. It should be quick, it should be simple, it should be repeatable, and it should not be something that is super complex or something that changes every single morning. You do not need more variation to be successful with dieting and staying in shape. It's all about keeping things nice and simple, okay? And I learned that a long time ago, guys, and trust me, that's one of the biggest reasons personally why I believe I've managed to stay in shape, because I keep my nutrition very simple, right? I eat foods I enjoy every single day, but I keep it very simple. And I find that I don't feel like I'm restricting myself. I don't feel like I'm missing out. If I want to have something, I'll have something. But I find that throughout day to day in life, it is so much easier to have a simple, repeatable system. And meal one is your first meal of the day. Most likely you're in a rush in the morning, you're busy, you're hustling, you're dropping the kids off at school, you're getting to work, whatever it is you're doing, you're not gonna have time or even wanna think about a complex meal first thing in the morning. So we want a repeatable and we want a very simple meal one. And you know, generally guys, like I said, something obviously protein based, you could have Greek yogurt, you could have eggs, you can have protein powder in porridge, very, very common one. They're generally the sort of meals that you wanna be looking at when it comes to that. So what do we do with meal two, right? It's gonna be plus, again, generally, this is how I would go about meal two, right? So this is technically gonna be lunch, or it might be, you know, more mid-afternoon if you had your first meal a bit later. And again, we're having a similar trend here, as you can see. Meal two is firstly repeatable, right? You don't need different lunches every day. Why? Like, you're probably most likely busy eating lunch on your own or with colleagues. You're not going to be there with your family cooking a really fancy lunch, but it's unlikely. And you're in the middle of the day. Like, you want, again, like a simple, easy meal that is going to be, you know, no decision fatigue, something that's just in your head. That's what I'm going to eat today. And also something that actually makes you feel good, because most likely, right, you're going to want your energy, but it to be at its absolute highest. So you're gonna wanna feel really good. So you should have a meal that you know that works for you, that you enjoy, that you can just repeat on autopilot. And you know that it makes you feel good as well, right? So again, I don't think you need to have all these different options when it comes to your lunch. Oh, today I'm gonna have this, and this. It needs to be simple, right? You don't need the complexity, especially in the middle of the day. My advice is just have a couple of meals on autopilot, right? So maybe just have a couple of rotations if you don't want to eat the same every day, or maybe week to week. This week it's gonna be pita breads for my lunch. Next week is gonna be, you know, chicken and rice with some freaking Nando's sauce to make it taste a little bit nicer, right? Like, you wanna have something that makes it very, very easy, or just have like a day one, day two throughout the entire week. If you are a person that goes out for lunch, maybe with your job, you work in corporate, you go out and you have to eat out, have a repeatable meal that you have when you go out, because that is not a social, to a certain extent, it's work, right? You're going out for work. So choose something repeatable. Maybe it is just, I have a high protein, you know, whatever lean meat that's on the menu, and then I just have some salad. Like, repeatable. Don't think every day I'm gonna vary it up and have something different. Because again, you're just gonna have a complete like mix of energy throughout the week where you're just having different meals all the time. I would just literally have, again, maybe a simple kind of couple of meals in your head that you have at certain places that you go to, that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have that again. It's gonna be steak, gonna be chicken, repeatable. That is my honest advice. To be successful dieting, don't give yourself loads of different options. Have food. Obviously, the key thing is enjoyment. I'm not saying eat food you hate. Have food that you like, have it, rinse it, and then if you get a little bit bored, you can swap it out for something that's simple. And then again, portable. Now, what do I mean by portable? Well, you need to have a meal that obviously you can take to work if you go to work, or if you're traveling with work. Again, it's likely you're gonna need something portable. So you need to look into things that are easy to be able to prep and take with you. Big thing that we give our clients is wraps. So we have like the wholemeal wraps, or pita breads are also really great. The cross the Malika flat breads, really, really good. You can get them in most supermarkets. Obviously they're great because it's a wrap. You can just put it in some cling film, stick some chicken inside it. It's a portable, simple, easy, quality meal to eat. Or you can just go for a nice chicken and rice. When I say like a nice one, I mean get yourself a nice flavored rice, an Uncle Ben's, a Tilda, marinate the chicken in something decent, and then you can put that in a Tupperware and take it to work. To me, that's not the standard chicken and rice. That's like one I would actually look forward to. Put some Nando's sauce in that as well. That's, for me, that's like a nice meal. I enjoy that. The key thing, guys, is making sure that this is actually a portable meal you can take with you. Overnight oats are another really good one. Put it in a Tupperware, take it with you to work. Bosh, you've got a quality, you know, good meal with you there. Overnight oats taste incredible. Put it in the fridge when you get to work. That's the key with meal two, guys. You want to make sure, again, pretty much portable, pretty much repeatable, and you're going to put yourself in a really good position. And then we go into meal three. So we are on our final meal now of the day. Before we start looking into the snack, guys, what is this one going to be? This is me being totally realistic, because I understand you don't want to eat the same foods every single day if you have a family and kids. Meal three is flexible, as you'll be glad to see. When you've had meal one and meal two, that's kind of on autopilot. It's very simple. It's kind of the same most days because it works for you, because you're on your grind, you're busy, you're working. You don't really need the flexibility. You just want simple, easy, quality meals that give you good energy, that digest well, that make you feel good. And then you're like, you know what? I've eaten, you know, really well today. Maybe I've trained by now. I'm back home. You know, I'm with the missus. I'm gonna sit down with the kids, and I want to enjoy myself, and I don't want to have to eat the same foods every single day. Great, now we can get into the flexible round. Meal 3 can be flexible. So this is where you can start to have possibly meals mapped out throughout the week from Monday to Friday of different foods. The basis of this, guys, is they just need to be similar enough so that the protein is pretty much the same. And even the carbs and fats does not really matter. You can have some days where carbs are higher, some days where fats are higher. You know, for example, some days you might have chicken fajitas where the carbs are going to be a bit higher because you're probably using wraps and that's a higher carb meal. And then possibly on one of the other days, you have salmon in the evening. Salmon is obviously got lots of healthy fats in it, but it pushes the fats up because of the fat content. So it doesn't really matter. Like both of those meals are fine, but it just means that one's higher carb, one's higher fat, but the protein is probably going to be very similar. So the flexibility is good. And this is where I would just sit down at the start of the week, maybe sit down with the missus, look at the shopping, order your shopping. This is what I used to do when I was in a relationship. Obviously, that was when I wasn't living on my own, I had to be flexible with my ex. And we used to literally do exactly that. We'd have a freaking whiteboard like this. We'd be like, right, Monday to Friday, this is the type of meals that we're going to consume. Bosh, 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 bosh. And we would literally just do our shopping and get exactly that. And I follow this exact system because in the day, I was by myself. I ate the same meals, pre-workout, post-workout meals, all that was the same. And then in the evening, I would literally have the flexibility because I would sit down with my partner at the time and enjoy the flexibility of eating something different every day. But it was always within my goals. It was always quality food. I just made sure that I took that little bit of time and effort to actually find a solution and a meal that was going to fit around that. And that was the absolutely key thing when it came to getting great results. Okay, so this meal 3 can be flexible. Find out what foods you can eat and just take the time to put into MyFitnessPal, or just take the time to, you know, look at what it is that you can eat throughout that, and then you will be in a really, it means you don't then have to eat the same foods every single day if you don't want to. Now, of course, by all means, guys, you can absolutely eat the same meal in the evening. And to be honest, with being me, living by myself, I do that often quite a lot. I just eat the same food. I don't really need variation. I have more variation at the weekend. Monday to Friday, I will eat the same foods. But being realistic, well, a lot of guys, I know that that's not really a possibility to just constantly eat the same food in the evening sometimes. So that's why if you do want a bit of flexibility, or even just having like a day 1, day 2 switch again, well, you just got a couple of different options up your sleeve. That's how I would go about meal 3, okay? Flexible, something that, again, it just gives you different options so you can sit down with your family. You don't have to prepare a different meal and sit there with your chicken and rice when everyone else is eating something different. You don't have to do that. If you just take a little bit of time and actually prepare and really think about what it is that you're gonna have in advance, then you'll be absolutely fine when it comes to this. And as I say, as long as it's high in protein, it's pretty quality food. I mean, look, you can get away with something a little bit crap sometimes, but as long as it's a fairly good quality meal, you're going to be able to have different rotations. This could be, you know, chili con carne one night, stir fry another night. This could be chicken curry one night. This could be steak and chips one night. This could be salmon one night. There's 5, 6 meals there that I've just gone through that are all quality meals to eat. It's just making sure that each of those meals is roughly the same calories, and again, is like 30, 40 grams of protein to just keep that protein sky high. That's how we go about meal 3, which leads me nicely into the last one, guys, which is going to be like this. We're going to call it a meal because it just makes it much easier. But honestly, this is probably one of the most, in my opinion, most important ones because it keeps people sane, is the high protein snack, meal 4. So let's just say we've had meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, and we spread those out, and then we get to around 6, 7 p.m. and we're like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit hungry now. But the good news is if you have structured your meals properly, you are going to have calories spare to go towards this last little snack. And it's a meal stroke snack. It depends how many calories you put in it. My yogurt bowls are starting to probably be the biggest meal of my day because I love eating food in the evening. But I've managed to fit that into my nutrition. I like to go quite hard on the yogurt bowl now, but I fit it in. It works for me. I eat a little bit less in the day so I can have a bigger meal before I go to bed. But anyway, I kind of gave away a little bit of a clue there, but the high protein snack in the evening, and this is 90% of the time going to be a yogurt bowl. Skyr yogurt, Greek yogurt, if you're vegan, Alpro, you're going to build out a yogurt bowl. You're going to put some berries in it. You're going to put some dark chocolate in there, some nuts, some fruit, and you are going to build this high protein, healthy, quality snack that you're going to have in the evening that will keep you out of the biscuit tin. And you can even add in a scoop of your favorite protein powder in there, like Perform, and you can make this taste incredible. And it will be something that you look forward to. You sit down with the wife in the evening. You don't want to go and eat the biscuit tin because you have actually taken the time to build out a quality high protein snack or dessert that you can sit there and eat and enjoy guilt-free. This is honestly the key. I could not go throughout my week without a yogurt bowl. And I know that most of our clients that we build this out for also say this is probably one of the things they look forward to the most. So make sure you take the time to create something that you can put into the evening that you actually enjoy. It's not going to see you then falling off track and eating crap. And guys, I eat chocolate in my evening yogurt bowl every single day. I don't remember the last day that I probably didn't eat dark chocolate, okay? And last time I looked at myself in the mirror, still pretty happy with my physique, because I understand that I don't want to restrict myself from not having something. I'd rather just understand how can I include it into my diet. Through yogurt bowl, perfect, because it's a high protein option as well. So it means that, you know, when I eat the dark chocolate, that is going to digest a lot slower because it's also higher in fat, which means I'm not then going to get that massive insulin spike and want to go and crash and eat all the freaking biscuits in the cupboard, which is what a lot of people do. So it's about being tactical with how we set this up. Okay, so that's how we go about it. Put the high protein meal before you go to bed. You can have it either after your meal 3, if you just prefer to just eat it straight away, or you can take an hour or two, maybe go for a walk, and then from there we can go and eat that high protein meal right before bed, or high protein yogurt bowl, bosh. That is pretty much the structure, okay? And I'm honestly telling you now this works, because this is what we give to most of our clients, unless they're adverse to it or there's a specific requirement there. But this is the key. Like, if you set your nutrition up like this, you know the calories, you build out a meal structure that kind of looks a little bit like this, you're gonna have success with it, because you will find that this is then something that becomes repeatable. You start building habits, you start building out a system which you know that you can just run through on autopilot and make things very simple. Now, the last thing that I want to run you guys through, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is all well and good, Chris, but what happens, you know, when the weekend hits? You'll be, and honestly guys, I'm gonna make this maybe a little bit boring, but if you want to get insane results, especially at the start, and you don't want to constantly feel like you're falling off every weekend, this is what you need to do. Doesn't need to change. The same structure that you have just followed, it needs to stay the same. Now, there is a caveat to that, and there may be a couple of little things that you can tweak, but you should not look at weekends differently to the week, because as soon as you start doing that, you will fall off the wagon. You will be like, oh great, I can do it Monday to Friday and I can't do it at the weekend. And this is what happens to most people. A weekend is just a weekend, okay? It still ends in day. It doesn't mean that you will need to completely change up your entire structure that you know is getting you results. So I would keep the same structure as much as you can. The only things that I would potentially tweak, guys, which is essentially if you know that you've got a social event, or you know you like to do something on Saturday, I often put higher calories on a Saturday. Clients, I will give them what I call a flexible day, and I'll push their calories higher, and it then means that they're able to enjoy something with more food and more flexibility across the weekend. So if that is something you feel that you need, which it probably is, you could set your nutrition up with your calories so that you have a higher day Saturday and even Sunday as well, if you feel like you would prefer to have 2 high days. You just have to accept that progress could be a little bit slower unless you want to bring your calories down even more in the week, which means that then you can obviously have an aggressive deficit Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday, you can have more of a maintenance, which is actually for most people something that's very realistic and something that's easy to follow, because most people are, you know, in a good routine, in a good structure Monday to Friday, whereas the weekends is where things really do start to slip. But in general, same structure is really the most important thing. And what I would do is, if you do have these social events, or you do have some things coming on, you know, meal 1, meal 2 can pretty much stay the same. You could possibly remove some of the carbs from those meals if you're a bit concerned, and just keep them very high protein. And then it's the meal 3 and the snack, which you would replace with a meal out. So you would maybe eat the same foods to keep your, you know, appetite in a similar place, energy in a similar place. And then in the evening time, you maybe just kind of make a couple of little swaps. And that's where you go out and have something that you really enjoy in the evening time. But you still end up keeping the same structure. You still try and follow the same foods that you ate in the week, because you know that they work. You're not going and just raiding the cupboard or eating something totally different the weekend just because it's a freaking weekend. It doesn't need to be any different. And then, like I said, meal in the evening, meal before you go to bed. This could be a meal out and a pudding, or even a couple of drinks, so that it just allows you to have a little bit more flexibility at the weekend. And that's pretty much that. So look guys, that is exactly how I would build out a meal structure and essentially build out your diet once you have worked out your calories. I really hope you found this video useful. Make sure you follow this, because I'm telling you now, this will really work for you. Go and build out your calories, and then use this to actually sit down and build out a meal structure. And if you do that, I can guarantee you're going to get amazing results. As I say, I will link the calorie calculator below. You can go and download that. And if there's anything else, guys, just make sure you drop a comment and I'll get back to that. But as always, I hope you found this useful. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. And as always, I'll catch you in the next video.